Okay, guys, it has been well over 5 months since I dropped a part on Hikari, and a lot of you guys have been wondering where it was. Well, I'm really grateful to announce, after a 5 month hiatus, she's back. Yes, I know, I'm sorry. Yes, this is part 8 of What If Hikari Survived. I am sorry, I had so many roadblocks. I could sit here and tell you guys all the excuses, but why would I waste time doing that? Okay, I'm human. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I could tell you a long list of reasons as to why I hadn't gotten to her yet, but we all know that's not why you're here. So sit back, relax. It's time for a well-deserved part 8 of What If Hikari Uchiha Survived. Let's begin. Where we last left off with this story, Hikari was currently standing her ground against Delta. Now, in the original story of Boruto, manga Boruto, whichever you want to say, Naruto is who faced off against Delta. Mainly because he had a plan. But he could also respect where Hikari was coming from. Even though he really wanted to rush in, Sasuke told him not to. Mainly because he had faith in his student. He had a feeling that she would be able to handle Delta. Delta didn't think it was a problem whatsoever. She just said, "Oh, look at you, another brat. Easy work, no problem." Hikari took her stance and proceeded to lunge at Delta, not saying a word, just trying to fight her right now with nothing but taijutsu. She quickly learns that that's not going to work. Delta is fighting back. She acts like she's on the back foot, but in reality, she has full control over this fight. She's not letting Hikari breathe for a second. Hikari's doing everything she can just to try and land an attack, but to no avail. She gains some distance against Delta. Delta laughs. She asks if that's all that the girl had, honestly wondering why she thought that she could handle her in a fight. At this point, Hikari was a little furious, but she tried to control her anger and calm down. She opened her eyes again. This time her Sharingan was activated. Delta was intrigued. This will be the first time she fought somebody using the Sharingan, or at least to our knowledge. If she has fought somebody with the Sharingan in the manga or in the series, please let me know. As far as I know, she never has. So, that's what she goes to do. Delta and her are locked in taijutsu combat once again. Delta's still having the upper hand, though Hikari's not getting hit as much, but she can tell that she's outmatched. Boruto starts to get worried. He wants Sasuke or his dad to do something, and if they don't, he will. Kawaki looks at him and tells him to stay out of it, this is her fight. Boruto gets a little pissed at this. He says that he wants to be there with her and fight with her if needed. He goes to step forward, and in mid-battle, Hikari yells at him to stay where he's at. Boruto stops in his tracks. He's wondering, why does she want him to stop? Why does she want his help? Hikari stops fighting, and stands back, looking at both Delta and then back to Boruto. She knows that he has been there for her since day one, since everything. She wants to prove herself to not only to him, not just to Lord Seventh, not just to Sasuke, but to everyone. Not just to everyone, but herself. As Nanashi Uchiha, on the pride of the Uchiha clan, she swears that she will not be beaten by this woman. Sasuke smirks, proud of his student. For the first time in their fight, she begins weaving hand signs. Delta smirks, knowing that she'll be able to absorb any jutsu that the girl throws. But she wasn't prepared for what she shouted first. Before anything, she starts rushing towards her again. Delta goes to kick her to the side and she turns into a puff of smoke. A shadow clone? Since when could she do that? Behind her, there are 3 more Nanashi. She's confused. She wasn't aware that the girl could use Shadow Clone Jutsu. When could she? Boruto smirked. Naruto and Sasuke were both taken aback by this. Apparently, sometime in the past, Boruto taught her how to use Shadow Clones. Though, he didn't expect her to use it in a battle like this, especially not to pull it out now. Nanashi prepares her hand signs again and starts weaving for a fireball jutsu. Once again, Delta knows that she'll be able to handle any jutsu that she throws. She waits for the attack to come through, and just as the fireball is just about to make contact with her, Nanashi comes from the back, weaving another pair of hand signs. She realizes that the fireball was just a diversion. Just as soon as her hand reaches the ground, it's too late. Nanashi looks at her dead in the eye. Her Mangekyo Sharingan activating for the first time during the quote-unquote 5th Great Ninja War. She glared at her target, and with a smirk, said Chidori, and ran to her as fast as possible. Delta was intrigued with her speed, but, unfortunately for Nanashi, the attack just wasn't fast enough. She did, however, manage to graze and damage Delta, but it wasn't enough for her to stop moving. Just as soon as she made contact, and Delta moved away. She was surprised, and albeit a little ticked off, really confused at how this little girl was able to damage her, and nobody else was before. She was pissed, and immediately started hitting Nanashi with every bit of energy she had. Nanashi fought with everything she had left in the tank, gave it her all, but it still just wasn't enough. She laid there on the ground, Naruto and Sasuke, Boruto, all of them, pissed, upset. They wanted to go out there and help Nanashi, but she told them to stay back, no matter what. Over and over, Delta knocked her down. Nanashi didn't give up. She stood strong. Boruto was almost ready to run out there and stop him, but Sasuke put a hand on his shoulder, telling him to let her fight. This isn't his battle. It's none of theirs. Boruto was ready to yell at Sasuke, telling him that he doesn't care. It doesn't matter if this is his battle or not. He needs to go out there and help Nanashi. Naruto puts a hand over his son's shoulder as well, telling him that this is not his battle, and Nanashi has told them to stay out of it. The least that they could do right now is respect her decision. And if she wants their help, she'll tell them. Boruto looks at his father and says, "Not if she's dead!" Naruto understands where his son's coming from, but at the same time, he knows what Nanashi is trying to do. She's already proven herself. Now she just has to believe it. Nanashi stands up one more time, battered, bruised, hurt beyond belief. Bloody, her Sharingan fading. Delta is about to go and deliver a final strike, smirking while doing so. "Well," she snarls, "I always knew that you were too weak. It's too bad. You know, you had potential. You honestly could have been a new vessel for Ishiki. But you know what? I realize Ishiki's too good for you." Boruto's about to yell, and just as Delta delivers a final strike, it turns out to be another Shadow Clone. She's aghast. When did she have time to do that? She jumps up in the air, looks at Delta from down below, and says, "You're right. This is the end." She's tired of running. Tired of having everybody else fight her battles for her. She's no longer a coward. She's Nanashi Uchiha. With that, she holds her fingers up to her mouth and screams out, "Fire style! Great fire annihilation!" Mountains of flames spew from the girl. Delta tries to absorb all the chakra, but it's way too much. She starts to get overloaded. Naruto notices this. She tries to get away, but Naruto and Sasuke hold her down, making her absorb all the chakra that she can before she completely overloads. Next, a big explosion happens. Everybody gets away. Delta is presumably defeated. Hikari falls to the ground after using up all of her chakra reserves, everything that she had left. Nanashi is the victor. Sasuke stands proud over his student, saying that she's done well and she's brought honor to the Uchiha name, and that she should wear it proudly. Boruto looks at her with tears in his eyes, very happy that she's alive. Kawaki, though still doesn't really care too much about the girl, smirks, agreeing that she showed great power. Naruto looked at her, and he was also proud, patting her head, almost like, once again, thinking of her like a daughter. Nanashi, for the first time in a while, broke down in tears. She was happy. Happy that she could finally wear the Uchiha name proudly. With that, it seemed like everything was fine, for the time being. A couple days pass. Nanashi is still resting. But she's currently with Sarada. Naturally, she'd be with Boruto, but with how his training's going with Kawaki, she decided that she's going to stay with Sarada for a while. Both her and Sarada get along like siblings, and it's really nice to have another girl around the house besides her mom. As they're heading out, Sasuke is at the door. Hikari was confused, wondering what he was doing there. Sasuke had looked at her and gave her a smile, before turning around and also Naruto being there as well. Sarada looked at him and said, "Lord Seventh, what are you doing here?" Naruto and Sasuke both look at each other before smirking and also smiling. Then back at Hikari, Sarada was confused, and so was the young Uchiha. They both looked at each other with very confused looks. Naruto pulls out a headband and looks her in the eye. "Nanashi Uchiha, for your great bravery, as well as standing up, protecting the village, and wearing the Uchiha name proudly, I present you with a leaf headband. Congratulations, you are now a full-fledged genin. And not just that, from here on out, you'll be assigned to Team 7. Nanashi was astounded. Not only did she become a ninja, a full-fledged ninja of the Hidden Leaf, she also was able to be on Boruto's team. Sarada was confused. She was told and always remembered that every team had a limit of 3 in their sensei. Naruto decided to pull some strings, and after talking with some of the former Kage about it, and current Kage as well, they decided to let this one slide and have a cell of 4, as including Konohamaru as their sensei. The only difference to this is if there is a D or C rank mission, then one of them would have to sit it out, which is understandable. Nanashi was really happy to hear this. She was finally proving her worth. She put on her headband, and it felt right. She was Nanashi Uchiha of the Hidden Leaf Village, and she wore it proudly. Somewhere off in the mountains, We find that Delta has finally come back and her body is completely melted back together. She talks to a scientist, tells her, and she tells him that there's something going on in the hidden leaf. Not only that Kojikashi seems a little different, however, there seems to be somebody else who's just as interesting, if not more so, than Kawaki. The scientist strokes his beard and is actually intrigued by this new information. But exactly what could it lead to? And why did Delta tell him this? Well, simple. Because her Mangekyo Sharingan is that of a lost breed. And she wants Ishiki to have it. With this new information on the horizon, what's Ishiki's next move? Is it to go after Kawaki and to retrieve his former vessel? Or is Nanashi next on the list? Will she obtain a karma and potentially become Ishiki's new vessel?